Hi, I'm Jason MLW and these are the top 10 most beautiful train stations in Europe. Today we're going to talk about Denmark and its most beautiful train stations, and believe me, it has some of them. Of course, when I heard about Denmark I thought well, it won't have any of them, but I was wrong, and that's good. Starting off, Denmark is a country in Northern Europe, in Scandinavia, and its bigger cities are Copenhagen, Aarhus, Odense, Aalborg, Esbjerg and Randers. Its capital city is Copenhagen and its main railway operator is Danske Statsbaner or DSB. Now onto the comparison, we start with number 10, which is Harbour Station or Hobrobanegård, which stands for station in Danish. The station is pretty cool, especially if we compare it to stations from other countries. It was built in 1869 and rebuilt twice. I think it's okay for number 10, but you will see in the course of time that this station looks bad compared to the top 3. And that's good. Now it's time to move on to number 9, which is Kolding Station or Kolding Banegård. I think it's in Jutland, but I'm not very sure about that. Well, it's a lot bigger. It's more impressive, it looks great at night. I think it could be number 8, but you haven't seen number 8, so you have to wait. This station doesn't have many tracks and platforms, just 3 tracks and 2 main platforms, which is a bit odd because Kolding is a big city. Now on to number 8, we've got another station. I'm sorry about the pronunciation, I think it's called Slaggade Station or Slaggade Banegård, but I'm not sure. I have to say that this station looks a lot better than the others. It was opened in 1856, so it is an old station, but it was renovated a lot of times. This brick style of architecture was used around Denmark for its train stations, so you will see that in every station following, like it or not. Now we've got number 7 waiting, which is Roskilde Station or Roskilde Banegård. I'm not sure about the pronunciation again. I have to say that this station looks like an Orthodox monastery. I'm sorry that I'm saying that. I don't want to offend any of the architect's ancestors. It was actually the first station in Denmark, built in 1847, and I think that it's one of the oldest stations in the whole Scandinavia. It has a roundhouse nearby, which is another advantage. I always admire stations with roundhouses. Now on to number 6, we've got Holstebro Station or Holstebro Banegård. It looks like a castle, to be honest, like the following stations and my top 3, but let's not be repetitive. These stations were built in 1866. It's one of the oldest in Denmark, but it's a bit small if we compare its tracks and sidings. Well, nothing important. We have to continue though with number 5, which is Aarhus Central Station. That's a more interesting station as it has neo-Renaissance architecture and its fantastic columns cannot be overseen. Aarhus Hovedbanegård was built in 1862 and rebuilt in 1929, and it has a large railway complex nearby. The station is very impressive, especially at night, and it has 7 tracks and 6 main platforms. As you see in this photo, it's actually one of the biggest in Denmark. Now we've got to continue with number 4, which is Esbjerg Station or Esbjerg Banegård. I already said that many stations looks like castle. I think that this station used to be a castle. Of course it didn't. It was built in the 1990s and it's Renaissance architecture. Although it hasn't got many platforms or tracks, it's a small station but still very beautiful. Now we're into our top 3. That's amazing. Top 3 is Aalborg Station or Aalborg Banegård. This station was built in 1869. Well, it has many differences from the others, and I think this is a station that could easily be in France or in Belgium, but of course it isn't, it's in Denmark. The station consists of 5 tracks and 3 main platforms, but there are a lot of sidings that trains stop. Yes. Continuing with number 2, we've got Copenhagen Central Station or Copenhagen Hovedbanegård. This is it. This Art Nouveau building, or work of beauty as it's called in Denmark, was opened in 1911. It reminds me of course of a castle, as every single station in Denmark, and it's very impressive, especially at night. It was rebuilt lately in 1986 and it consists of 13 tracks and 12 main platforms. Now onto the stations that couldn't make it to my top 10. We've got Odense Station that could be in number 2 if this station hadn't replaced it. Well, now it's not in my top 10. Next station is Gedser Station or Gedser Banegård, which looks like a fortress, but of course it isn't. It was a nice addition to my list. Now, what you've all waited for, number 1, which is Elsinore Station or Helsingør Banegård, which is a port city, a small town with many residents and the most beautiful train station in Denmark. It's amazing. It was built in 1891. The pier in front of it was added later. This Renaissance architecture building looks simply amazing. It's the most spectacular building I've ever seen in Scandinavia. Of course, this is my first video of train stations in Scandinavia. The interior of the station is well preserved and it has 4 tracks because it's in a port, so there's not much space. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you liked it. I hope that you write down your own top 10 and vote between my top 3 in the pop-up banner in the top right of the screen. Now, my next video will be about the top 10 most beautiful train stations in England. The UK is a large country with dozens of great stations, so I had to narrow them down and split the UK into all of its countries. Bye!